back, Freedom Freaks. What we have for you is another great episode here on Freedom Empowered. It's actually our millionth episode. Not really, but one day it will be, and hopefully all of you will still be listening. It'll be kind of amazing. Maybe we'll have more people on the show. What I think would be cool if we had like a conference type of thing, like where you see in businesses where they'll have like a teleconference, and we just have meeting of the minds. It'll be like the Jedi Council or something like that. Just the freest people alive. Maybe some of you will be on there too. I don't know, but no, that sounded a little bit out there. That's because this episode we're going to try to take it a little more introspectively and talk a little bit more philosophical, because Nick's been doing a lot of meditation recently, and he came up with some good ideas. But I don't really even know what meditation is. Why don't you feed us in a little bit, Nick?
Well, before we get into my meditation, I just want to say getting to our 1 millionth episode would be kind of hard, because that would take roughly 9,600 years to get to. I don't know how long you plan on living. I don't think my meditation can get me to live that long.
Well, maybe we just become so free that we're doing 10 episodes a day. I don't know about that.
We might get closer. But meditation is peaceful. I dig it. I do it about like 2 or 3 times a week. It's good stuff. It clears the mind.
What is it though? Is it like a yoga type thing, or what does it mean for you?
Well, for me, I like to turn off the lights, set some candles aside, light those up, and just sit in silence and let the mind clear. And just.
All right. Sounds like something that's supposed to be a romantic date, but I guess for you it's just an individual event. But no, just hold your thought there. No, because it was the reason why I even asked that is because I was watching this video, and it was with Kevin Hart. I don't know. So I got really. You guys know who Conan O'Brien is? Well, I got really into watching some of his videos just on YouTube. If you haven't seen them, check them out. They're funny. I don't know how much they teach you, but they're humorous. And one of the things is him and Kevin Hart go to a goat yoga session, and the goats are they're like the goats that just jump around, and like you're just doing yoga and they'll jump on your back or whatnot. But it was weird because the goats would just shit all over you, and like it seems unnatural because there's all these Beverly Hills celebrities that you would assume are like uptight clean freaks, but just letting goats poop on them. It was trippy, and I didn't know. Maybe that's what you do, Nick. Maybe your candles, and a couple of goats, something like that.
I've never heard anything like that till now. That is some trippy stuff. We talk about freedom of thought. That's too far. Don't do that. Don't be that guy or gal.
You're too free. You gotta bring it in a little bit.
Maybe you don't deserve to be free if that's what you're planning on doing.
Everyone has their own definition of freedom, but if that's yours, then maybe you do need to just work for somebody else. Hey, someone is running that yoga studio and is making way too much money, which is a couple of goats and some yoga mats. You know what I mean? Those celebrities are starting to really like some weird things. I saw, I guess we'll just go ahead and endorse some more other programs, but there's this email group called The Hustle where they email you. It's supposed to be business, but it's interesting. It's like, hey, the new age technological or business events that are happening, and one of them was rich people are starting to want to have their own chickens. Like, I'm not talking like it's like a farm thing, but it's not like a farm. It's just like rich people in Beverly Hills are like, yo, I want to have my own chickens coops. And then, like, instead of bringing a bottle of wine over to your friends for dinner, they'll bring over a basket of, I guess, organic chicken eggs. And that is just, people are doing strange things.
Well, I feel like in society there's two types of trends. There's the trends that, like, common people go through, like, oh, Oakleys are cool, everyone's buying Oakleys. There's those trends. And then there's the Hollywood trends that you don't really hear about much, but where they just do freaky shit. They're just doing weird shit constantly.
Yeah. There was another one where they said famous people are starting to have sharks as pets, and then one of them was like, "Oh, it's natural selection or whatnot." Like, I don't know. I don't know. I've always wanted. Everyone always wants to have like a tiger or like a monkey for a pet, but then
If you want a tiger, just go to Texas.
that's what. Yeah, we talked about that. But I just one. Do you really want one? And two, I don't even know what it means. Like one, it's like in order to. I'm not some like outlandish environmental activist, but I like the environment. Like that's one of the biggest things for me. That's what I enjoy to do. So I would like if unless you're going to be able to totally provide for that animal, I don't know if you should be just having that. Now one of them because I looked it up. This is funny, but I looked it up. I was like, would it take to have a lemur as a pet? Because lemurs are cool. It's like Zumbumbufu, right? What's it? Was it Zumbumbufu, right? Yeah. And it's like how, but they said they're so wild that it wouldn't even be interesting to have because they just shit all over the place and jump around and break your walls and stuff. So like you'd have to have an outdoor enclosure to keep it in. And at that point, is it even your pet or are you just caging a wild animal? I don't know. It's kind of a tangent we've went off on here, but it's part of freedom of thought, right?
Yeah, yeah. But we'll just slowly transition to what we're talking about today. So we're talking about ideas of philosophy, I guess you could say. But it's the idea of not getting caught up in credentials. That's what we're talking about today, and how your credentials don't mean anything if you don't do anything with them.
Right. It's like, you know, graduating from Harvard is great, and it is. It's awesome. But if you didn't do anything with it, what does it mean? You know what I mean? Why are one of the things that got me thinking about this is everyone has these giant celebrations for graduations, whether it's a lot of time for college, but they even have it for high school. You know what I mean? Like you have people will give you graduation gifts. It's usually money, and people will be walking out of a high school graduation with like 5 grand. You know what I mean? Like, why? You be proud of your accomplishment, but all you did was graduate from high school. What is it? All it means is that good job, you're on the right path. And then even if you graduate from Harvard, that's awesome. But all it means is that you're that much better prepared to be successful. It doesn't mean that you are successful. It doesn't mean that you have achieved your goals or that you've made it to or that you're gonna be rich or that you're gonna be have a badass job. It doesn't mean that that's gonna be the case. It means that you're set up to be able to get there. So there's nothing wrong with having some good credentials. And if you come from a family that thinks that college is important, which I have an entire argument against that, which we've talked about in the past and I'm sure we'll be talking about in the future, but that's not the point of this episode. But if you're going to go out there and you're going to graduate from college, good for you. But if you just wear around your alumni shirt and get the license plate and go and work at the local coffee shop, hanging your hat on the crazy college experience you had, it's all for nothing. It really, it doesn't mean a whole lot.
Yeah,
But
I would say this episode's like is I think this would be our one of our best freedom of action episodes. How before in the past we've talked about how you just need to go for it, and now we're taking it an extra step. What if you've got the credentials to do it? Like Mason was saying, if you get a degree, but after college you don't really use the degree, it was really just a waste of money. There was really no point in getting it.
yeah, you talk about everyone. I mean, you might not have heard about it, but I read an article at one point. There's a guy who has like 15 master's degrees or something, and if that's what he loves to do, if for some reason taking tests and doing homework and cracking open the books on a Thursday night is something that he loves to do, that's awesome.
That sounds
But
fucking horrible.
that's what I mean. That's what everyone hates school. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm saying. Like, was that even his? So this is where it starts to get weird. Was that his goal? Was that his dream? Or is he the most stuck? Is everyone always hears if whoever can't like I guess it doesn't really fit. I was gonna say whoever can't does do teach, and I don't know if that's entirely true. But what if the only place this person felt comfortable was in a school setting, was in a classroom, because he didn't have the social skills or he didn't have the confidence to go out there and transition into a new field? It's almost like as if he never left his mom's basement, except he did. He moved into a college, but you don't even know that. Maybe he didn't. Maybe he just was living with his parents the whole time, and then I just don't know if that's that big of an accomplishment.
Well, maybe he's just trying to avoid paying his student loans. You don't have to pay them back until you finish school. So maybe he's just taking classes and then more classes, and then he'll
Hmm.
never have to pay it back.
Right. But you don't want to. Yeah, no, yeah, no, no. You're totally right. I'm just getting kind of cut off in this, but don't want to get caught up in building your resume, and then you don't leave yourself enough time to take action, because I, we've t- our this is like our entire show is about this. It doesn't take credentials to take action, and there sometimes the less credentials you have, the more able you are to take action because you have some sort of other unique skill that isn't a government mandated educational degree, and it's some sort of unique skill that not everybody at your college has. It's something that you developed on the side that's unique and that can propel you into success. And it's something that, maybe it's not on a piece of paper, but that's the most surprising part of it all. Um, yeah, and I guess we could talk about next is just to give you a little bit of proof. There's everyone knows that one guy out there that hasn't really achieved anything, but he talks like he does, and a lot of people believe him. You know what I mean? And it probably might piss you off. You guys know who I'm talking about. Everyone knows that one guy, but it might piss you off that he the guy is a cocky asshole. He's making stuff up. He's probably there's some sort of lie involved there, and he's pretending to be something that he's not. But I'm not advocating that you try to emulate him or you start to lie or you try to make up, fake accomplishments. But at the same time, it just shows you how easy it is. It shows you how easy it is with a little bit of confidence, how you can, portray this image of success, or at least this image of, a credential that doesn't exist. There's people out there all the time. There's people that fake college degrees all the time. There was one I was just reading about it. You used to be able to get there used to be like this college in California that would give you a doctorate for like it was basically a lump sum of money, and because being a doctor doesn't mean that you're just a surgeon. There's all sorts of them. So they're handing out these doctorates for basically just a check, and some girl created an entire like self help like psychology business off of her doctorate, and she made millions of dollars. And then it came out later that she never actually took any classes on this, and it was really a fake doctorate, and they ended up shutting her down. But the point is that it worked. You know what I mean? So, and I once again I don't advocate that, but at the same time, don't if you're just sitting around building up these credentials and trying to prepare yourself to be in the best situation to take action. I'm sorry, but there's someone out there that's taking action that had none of your credentials, and they're probably making it work, and you're not.
Well, yeah, and having the credentials is good and all, but it's all about taking action. We've said it about 10 times now. Oh, taking action's key, and just the confidence that you need to take action. Imagine if you had the credentials and the confidence. Now you're above everybody, but you can't get stuck at just the credential part. Like you guys know that Mason and I used to wrestle. I'm not gonna say who was better, but we did wrestling, martial arts, and then uh, on no matter what team we were on, no matter when we did it, there's always that one guy who thought he was like the shit. Like he thought he was the most badass guy to ever go on a mat. and he would talk himself up. He would be just like a JV wrestler, talk himself up as some MMA god, and and every time you would wrestle him, he would be just crap sauce. But 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 the confidence didn't help him in wrestling. But I guess it did improve his image. No matter how bad he was, he was successful in what he was trying to do.
Well, let's just go out and say it, man. These people, they absolutely could not compete. They were not tough. They did not put in any of the work necessary to be a winner. And then they would go out there and start doing MMA at the local gym because was getting really big back when we were growing up. And then they would give themselves a cool stage name and call themselves a pro fighter. And to be called a pro fighter doesn't take a lot. You have to get like one match or one fight in that like wins you some money. I think I'm not entirely sure, but I think that's the difference between pro and amateur. I probably should have looked it up before we talked about it, but I think that's what the difference is with sports because technically isn't even the Olympics considered an amateur sport because there's no money to be made off it. I think that's what it is. So a pro athlete is someone who can just make money off it. So these people are out there on their Instagram or on their Facebook with the little, calling themselves pro fighter, and all they did was train at a gym, get their ass beat a little bit, and then post one picture where they weren't getting choked out. You know what I mean? But I mean, it's not all. We don't have to always be negative. It's just we're just here to show you that we're here for anyone to achieve whatever their definition of personal freedom is, and it really is no skin off their back because I've no issue with somebody trying to use everything at their disposal to their advantage. You know what I mean? As long as you're not hurting somebody or you're not stealing from somebody, then it's a there's no rules to life, and that's a big thing that a lot of people don't understand. Is they go out there and they say, oh well, my parents taught me this set of rules, or school taught me this set of rules, or life's supposed to be fair, or this is the set of steps necessary for me to get where I want to go. And that's not the case. There's no rules in this world. There's people out there that go from poor to filthy rich in a matter of a couple years. You don't have to build up a 401k. You don't have to go out there and have 10 years in college. It's not necessary. People even say, hey, well, you have to start out at an entry level job. Why? What if you just once again, I think everyone should control their own source of income, but at some point you might have to work for somebody else, and if that's the case, why not interview for a higher level position and work your ass off to build the social skills and the basic level of knowledge necessary to be successful in that interview? Who knows what might happen? Maybe if you get a nice haircut, get rid of your beard, and wear a suit to your interview, you might just get hired. You don't have to start out at the lowest level. It's just not the case. But yeah.
Yeah, and well, I feel like something that affects a lot of people in society, that a lot of people get hung up on their accomplishments. Like they accomplish something and then that's all they talk about for the next 10 years, but they never really accomplish anything else.
Right. I mean, there's nothing wrong with being proud of your accomplishments. But I'll say it again, if all you did was be on your high school's chess team and you're the best of five, you can't run around and retire off that. Nick can't go and retire off his junior black belt in Aikido he got when he was 9 years old. That's not paying the bills. That's, his mama might like that.
I was 11 years old, all right?
All right. But his mom might give him a clap and might give him a hug for it, but the world's not going to,
My mom loves me.
That's true. That's good for you. Not everyone's mom loves them. No, but yeah, that's just the point. Is there has to be a balance. You need to go out there. You need to do your own thing. And as I say again, there's always a way to make your dreams valuable. There's a way to, you know, monetize whatever it is that you're good at, whatever skill you have, whatever set of knowledge you have. There's a way to monetize it. There's a way to operationalize it. There's a way to make it into a career, to make it into a business. There's a way to make it happen. It's the same way with that girl who teaches dogs to surf for $100 an hour. There's a way to make it happen, but you have to go out there and make it happen. You have to take action. And that's the key here is if you just sit around and feel sorry for yourself, or if you just be too proud of your past accomplishments, you know, you might wake up one day and just be behind the curve.
Well, yeah, like at the end of the day, your credentials, your accomplishments, your skills, your knowledge, it means nothing if you don't use them. Like you could be the best quarterback in the nation, but you could be into drugs or start partying. I don't know. First example that comes to my mind is Johnny Football, Johnny Manziel. He was I I don't know if he was the number one overall pick in the draft, but he was top prospect out of college. But he couldn't get over his college days where he would want to party and all that, and at the end of the day, it didn't work out for him. And then you see people like Tom Brady, who he didn't have the resume that Johnny Manziel had, but he took action. He put in the work. He did everything he could, and now he's the greatest football player of all time. That's just like one example I could think of right now.
It's funny you say that, but I know a lot of people who will oppose that. They say that it's just they say that if it was any other or if he had any other team, he wouldn't be as successful. And then they go out and who is it? What is it? It's one of the Mannings that they say. I'm sorry, I'm not a big football guy, but they say that as a quarterback, just Tom Brady's not the best. It's really just a team thing. But then we say again, who cares? So go ahead and complain. But he has the most wins. He's winning, so he's absolute champion when it comes to football. He's been playing for how many years? He's got a supermodel wife. If you go ahead and complain, but he's out there crushing life without even the smallest knowledge of what any of our names are. And he does it. We can talk shit all we want, but he wins. And if you can create that for yourself, you don't have to worry about what other people think about you. You don't have to go out there and try to build a resume to get hired by some business who the boss is an asshole. Because if you just build that unique set of knowledge and skills behind whatever your dream is, and you are your own boss and you control your own source of income, you don't have to worry about it anymore. You don't have to worry about what anyone thinks about you. And you can do something that you love. But yeah, that's I know I heard. I'll give you a quick quote, and then Nick can give his opinion on it. But I heard a quote. It was, "Your paycheck is just a bribe for you to forget your dreams." I don't know. What do you think about that, Nick?
Well, that's the first time I've ever heard that quote, but no, it's somewhat true. Like, if you have a dream, but someone offers you a job for you to help them fulfill their dream, now you're not working towards your dream, but you're getting paid for it. Yeah, it makes sense. What do you think?
Yeah, no, it's entirely true. If you go to work the next 5 years just making no money, but you're building a business where you're barely breaking even, but then 10 years from now, you get to make your own hours, you get to, you know, be doing what you love, then I would say it's all worth it. Yeah, no, I totally agree. It's just like what sum of money is enough for you to be a slave of someone else's dreams, you know? Unless you're holding financial freedom, in your highest regard, then maybe it might be worth it. There's some people out there that want to do it. There's some people out there that really want to go be in the rat race in Wall Street, and they want to do just work 20-hour days, crunching numbers for Goldman Sachs, and just snoring coke to keep themselves awake. That's if that's your dream.
I think
No,
that's just in the movies.
no, maybe. But either way, okay. But if Wolf of Wall Street's what you want, that's awesome. And as I would say again, if you think that's what you want, I dare you to take 10 minutes to think about it, and then come back with your next answer, because there's a huge number of ideas that are these molds that people want to fit. Everyone wants to be an actor, or they want to be someone famous, or they want to do just this crazy thing. But at the end of the day, is that actually what you want? Because I guarantee you, there's a lot of people that move to LA with the dreams of being in the movie industry that end up hating their lives because it's just not who they were. It's not who they are, and it's not who they really want to be. It's just a lack of maybe experience, and that's why we push freedom of thought in the show, freedom of movement, to go out there and move around, to try some new places, try some new jobs, try some new activities, some new hobbies, live in some new places, start to build that frame of reference in your head of just experiences, so that when it is time to settle down, you are on the right path.
Well, yeah, and I have a question for the audience and for you, Mason. But so we talk about freedom of finance. Money is important, but it's not absolutely everything. But how much is your dream worth? How much money would someone have to pay you for you to slave away and help accomplish their dreams and give up on yours?
$100 million. No, I don't know, because there's. I'll tell you one thing. I'll just tell you something personal. There was a point where um, what I used to say I wanted to do, and this is what I thought it was. I thought it was a well thought out plan, and I think it still kind of does revolve around some of the things I enjoy doing. But if you guys ever watch like Nat Geo, they all they do is travel around and go and explore. And I always thought maybe I would want to be like a project manager for Nat Geo and just travel around the world, taking pictures and videos, and just basically getting paid to travel. And yeah, I think that my dream definitely develops over time, but that wasn't a money based dream. There's no amount of money that can pay for that, because even if you're making $10 million a year, but chances are you're working so hard to make that amount of money that you don't even have the time to travel with it. You know what I mean? You're stuck bogged down in a location that doesn't listen. You might have freedom of finance. You might even have freedom of action. But if you can be doing what you want, but if it takes so much of your time that you don't have the ability to do other things, then what is it worth? You have to really. That's why there's four principles of freedom, because you have to balance them all. You have to, according to your life, because you look at, we talked about it before, people like Anthony Bourdain, who he had freedom of action. That's what he loved to do. He even had freedom of movement. He was traveling, but and he had freedom of finance and arguably freedom of thought. He had them all, but it didn't line up, because if you kind of look into his past, one of the things that he wasn't able to do was spend time with his daughter back at home, because he spent like some crazy amount of like 250 days a year abroad filming. And for someone like him who had a tumultuous life, he probably, part of what stabilized him was family. And it's very unfortunate, and once again, I don't even dare to assume that I know what happened to him, but it something wasn't right. And what you don't want to do is end up in a position like that. Sorry to take it down, but even like in a lighter version, I'd be man versus food. That's the great job. You can't. How do you? You can't. There's no amount of. I mean, I guess there is an amount of money that could make that happen. But you know what I mean, though. You know what I mean. There's. What about you, Nick? What would you do?
What are you asking? What would I do if I could do anything, or like
I guess I would say no. I guess I don't know. Okay, I think that we are smart enough to develop our ideas as we go along. But like, was there a childhood dream that you had that you know, can either say that wow, that was a good idea, or I was foolish and now I've adapted that based on some new knowledge that you have gained?
uh, I would say probably being like a sports athlete was like my that was like my dream in like middle school, like growing up, or mainly football. I'm a huge football fan. That was probably one of my biggest dreams back then. But then as I went into high school and did more things, experienced more things, I just grew out of it. Just got over
Oh,
it.
or you did, or you didn't grow enough. Or was that it? You realized that once you weren't gonna break 5'10", that was the end of your professional sports dreams.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, it's funny, but it's true. That's a thing. There's going to be certain limitations that you have. You know, maybe you're just not good at sports. You're just unathletic. Maybe you don't have the book smarts to be, you know, a nuclear scientist if that's what you wanted to do. But you just, I'm sorry, it didn't work out. Then you
Well,
know,
I feel like that's actually like, well, we weren't planning on talking about this, but I feel like that's like an actual problem in society. Like some people aren't brought to reality. Like people stay in their childhood, like not their childhood fantasies, but like they have like these crazy ideas that aren't possible, like that aren't realistic, and they just get stuck on that idea, and then they just never move forward.
no, it's. I think you're right, and we'll talk about it here in a minute. But I think I have a pretty good example for that. But yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people come back and say, "Hey, well, I do have these things that are not holding me back, but just I guess requirements in life. Like maybe I have already have a family and a couple of kids, and I have to be working a job to feed them. Like that makes sense. But what are you doing on the side? No one's telling you. And I think that this is a point that people might get wrong from listening to the show, is they think that we're advocating for quit everything and completely change directions. So that's not the case. It takes time. Everything takes time. And, you know, you might not be in a position to be like Jeff Bezos and just quit everything and run with it. You might not, but there's definitely time in your day to start to take action and move in the right direction. You know what I mean? Maybe your job is just uh, uh, something to sustain you and also have a little extra cash to put into your dream, your little side business. Everyone needs to have a side hustle. And one of the things is you need to have a plan. You need to have steps on what you're going to do to take action. And that's what people like Peter Dinklage did. Whether it takes you 6 months, 2 years, 6 years, like Peter, you know, when it finally happens and you finally do achieve that success, you're not going to think back on, well, I can't believe it took me so long. You'd be like, wow, I made it, and I'm proud of that. So you just got to focus on the skills and the knowledge that you have now and what kind of value you can bring to this world and go from there. You know, if you, this is one of the things I wanted to talk about, and then I'll let you go, Nick, here in a second. But if you suck at your job, and maybe because you're just being a paper pusher, or maybe you're working on some computer in a business, or maybe you work a manual labor job and you're just not strong enough to really excel in it. You might sit back and you might be like, oh, I have no skills. I suck at my job. Like there's no way I can be successful. But that's not what it means. All it means is that maybe the value you have isn't in the job that you're currently in. You know what I mean? Maybe you're just not in the right field for the knowledge and the skills that you have. And you just can't let it demoralize yourself. You can't let your situation that you're in right now demoralize you. You can't let it get you down and think that you have no value. What you have to do is be smart and grow a pair of cojones and realize that it's always possible for you to get out there and make a change. Freedom of thought is one of our four main principles, and it's a main principle for a reason because it's key, and it's hard to see sometimes. It's hard to articulate and to operationalize, but it's still just one of the most important ones because it's the key to beginning. It's the key to get yourself started. It's what keeps you motivated when when you don't have the other freedoms. You know what I mean? Right, Nick?
Yeah, exactly. And I'd say just to you guys should just take like 10 minutes to write yourself a plan, like a list of things you need to get done in order for you to either succeed your dream, or if you're working a job that you don't really like, how you can start to transition into going towards your goal. But it's about being confident. It's about knowing who you are and knowing what you want to do. And we talked about it last episode, knowing who you are, knowing what you want to do. And I think that all goes to your life experiences as well. You got to experience things to know who you are and what you want to do.
So I would say that the three things that are the most important to business or to being successful in any manner is confidence, discipline, and then communication / networking. And let me just ask you this straight up front. Which one of those requires a PhD or 10 years of job experience? Which one requires that you are dependent on someone else? None. Those are all dependent on yourself. Those are all something that you can work on now. You don't have to go to school for it. You don't have the money to develop those skills. Nothing. No. Those are something that you can work on today. You can start to organize your life, become more disciplined. You can start to communicate with the people around you and try to network to build an environment of people that can help you get there, and just be straight up confident in yourself. Those are easy. I almost feel like bad talking about it because this isn't a motivational podcast. We're not here to just be like, good job, guys, like you can do anything, because that's not what this is about, because that's not enough. You can't just believe in yourself and be successful. You have to take action. You have to actually do something. You have to get out of your room. You have to get out. You have to go home from work and start to, work on that next level. You have to, something in your life has to change if you want to move forward. But at the same time, those are the three things that will help you get there, and that's the best part about it.
Yeah, and when we talk about self-confidence, we're not necessarily saying like, oh, if you want to be CEO of Apple, you can't just walk in and say, I'm now the CEO. Like, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about self-confidence to take action and to believe in your actions on your steps to get there.
Right.
And another thing is not letting people crush your dreams. We talked about demoralizing. That's very demoralizing when people, especially people close to you, say like, "Oh, you can't do it," or "Oh, that's such a stupid idea." You just can't let that get to you. Like, it's okay to be a beginner at something and not be an expert at it, and just taking baby steps to get there.
You have to be. You have to fail. It's a necessity. If you're going to learn something new, you're going to suck at it. And that's why people have so much issue breaking out of their comfort zone and trying something new, because they're embarrassed. No one wants to be a 35-year-old man who is stumbling around trying to teach himself some computer skills, or trying to learn a new language, or, you know, no one wants to be that. I wouldn't want to be that, and I'm not even that old. You know what I mean? It's you have to kind of you have to just have humility. You have to look at kids with a little bit of inspiration. They go out there and they fail and they laugh and it's fun. And I think that's one of the things that we learned making this podcast is, I don't know how if you remember, Nick, but when we first started this podcast, we had no idea what we were doing. We knew what we wanted to be about, and we had been trying new things, and we were definitely developing our skills, but it was horrible. And I think we have some of our original podcasts still up. If you go back and listen to them, I'm not proud of them, but it's where we start. If that never happened, this would never happen. That's the case in point. It's if you're not a magician, you're going to have to take massive risk and totally fall flat in your face, and it's going to be embarrassing. But you have to. It's part of the plan. It's part of the game. You should look for opportunities to fail. And I've had people tell me like, "Oh, so you're just gonna go look for failure?" Because there's a stat out there where it says something like between 5 and 10 of your first business ideas are gonna fail in some way before you get it down. And I look at that and go, good. Like it's fun, because if you're not learning, then are you really? Is your goal even big enough? If you can just instantly accomplish your goal and overnight, was it big enough? I don't know. To me, it wouldn't be.
Well, 5 to 10 of your first business ideas fail. You better have 11 business ideas, because that 11th one's going to be the one. And I feel like a large thing is discipline to work. So like everyone has those goals that they want to succeed, and like a lot of them are fun goals. If you want to horseback ride for the rest of your life, and you just want to hang out with horses and do all that stuff, in order to have a business, you're going to need to do the boring parts first. You're going to have to get through the rough, boring parts in order to get through to the fun.
Right. It's just it's true. You got to be the one to put in the hard work. But then guess what? Maybe once you're successful and you're making a little bit of money, you can pay someone else to do it for you. It's yeah. You really think that some of these business experts really know everything that they're doing? There's some that are. There's Elon Musk. He is a technical expert. He loves working with the equipment. He loves creating the Teslas, and that's good for him. But there's a lot of business people out there that have no clue what's going on below them, but they put in the work to build a community and to build a team, and that goes right into communication and networking. You know what I mean? Building a team. Mark Cuban said that if you're looking for a business partner, find someone that's the exact opposite of you. Because why would you want someone that's the same as you? What is that? If there's two people that are good at the same thing, you're both very good at public speaking, but then no one knows how to do anything technical, no one knows how to run a business, then what good is it? You know what I mean? You got to find someone that's different than you, that just, I think we talked about this last time, but the yin and the yang.
Yeah.
But you're the yin and I'm the yang. Or was it the other way around?
No, I'm the yin. Ying's better, so.
Is it?
I think so.
But yeah, that's the freedom of thought. The freedom of thought. It's key. Everyone wants to have freedom of finance. Everyone wants to have freedom of action. But it starts with freedom of thought. It starts with just having the mindset and the ability to adapt. And you look at me and Nick, for instance. You know, I I like to think of myself as the creative guy. I yeah, that's I'm just gonna say it. I like to be creative. I like to, you know, write the episodes. I like to come up with these new ideas. But you know what I don't like to do? I hate working on the computer. I hate, doing all the technical things. I hate talking to other people that are part of our business. It's not my forte. Nick loves to just buckle down and get shit done.
Yeah, I'm the one who manages the emails, edits the episodes. I do all of the technical work. Mason, I guess, is the more creative one. But I guess the smarter person does the more technical stuff, and the not as smart does let's
It's
follows his
possible.
imagination.
It's possible. It's possible. But yeah, guys. Um, I guess I'll kind of close it up with a story. This is just the way Freedom Empowered kind of worked in a real life situation. I was talking to a friend, and he wanted to start his own, or he just, I would say business, but he had just came up with an idea. He was like, "Hey, I want to create this app." You know what I mean? And I'm like, "Cool, dude. Like, I'm supportive. What's the app?" And it was a great idea. I won't tell you all about it because maybe one day he'll end up doing it. But what does it take to start an app? You need at least $100,000 in startup capital if you want to have a fancy app. You know what I mean? But let's break it down. What are the first steps you can do? Let's be realistic. What can you start today? You can maybe you just start a website or just start some, you know, less technologically advanced thing and then build your way up. It doesn't sound flashy. Everyone wants to have their own Facebook, but maybe that's not where you start. Maybe you got to start somewhere smaller. And
Well, like in that, like you say, 100K to get like some fancy app. I feel like a lot of people don't try the app because of that number, that figure, the 100K. When in reality, you could start off with just a very small fraction of it. You could probably start off with like a $300 app, and the functions aren't nearly as much as what you dreamed it to be, but it might be enough for you to start to build it. And I feel like people don't even try because they know at the end of the day, or not even at the end of the day, they just get stuck in the idea this is what they want it to be. They want it to be this grand thing, but they don't realize that they have to start small to
yeah,
begin.
yeah, you're look at Justin Bieber, Nick's favorite musical artist, right, Nick?
No, no.
But yeah, he started out on YouTube. I remember I was in the fifth grade or something, and people would be like, "Yo, check this guy out on YouTube." Like, first of all, what is YouTube? I don't even know. I was really that technologically sophisticated back then. But oh wow, cool. And now look at him. So there's a million examples, which is kind of the basis of the show, is to show you how there's people that have done it. But if he hadn't started posting his shower singing on YouTube 10, 20 years ago, what would have happened? Where would he be at now? He might still just be a shower singer. You know what I mean? So I know there's someone out there listening to this that definitely has a unique set of skills that they keep as their hobby or just something to entertain themselves, and they just have a shitty job that they hate and aren't doing anything to make that hobby a career. And then I ask you why. Why don't you? And it might take 5 years to make work, but if you start now, 5 years from now, you can laugh at all your friends while they're still just working their ass off for some selling their dreams for a little bit of money. That's not where I want you guys to be. That's not where we are going to be. And I just think there's something more out there for all of you.
Yeah, and that's really what it's gonna be like. At first, it's gonna be like somewhat embarrassing, like, oh, I have this idea, I'm trying this idea, and at first, you're gonna think, or you may like it, but other people may think, what are you doing? And I don't know. I like to look at it like riding a bike or learning how to swim. At first, you look ridiculous. You're riding around with training wheels and you look like a joke. But eventually, the training wheels come off. Eventually, you're not drowning and suffocating underwater.
That's true.
You're gonna get there as long as you keep pushing for it. And I don't know. I guess that's the way I look at it. Really, the riding the bike example.
Yeah, yeah. How
You
long?
gotta start somewhere.
You gotta start somewhere. Don't give up. How long? How much effort are you willing to put in? How much failure are you willing to endure to make your dream a reality? I say fail till you make it. I don't care if I'm 100 years old. If I'm pursuing what I want to do, that's all. That's all that really matters. But yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah, I feel like we started off with what this episode was supposed to be about credentials and stuff. We really ranted, but I don't know. I enjoyed it. I'm pretty sure the people listening enjoyed it.
Yeah, and if you guys want to start getting more involved, whether it's giving us ideas of what you want us to talk about, or if you just want to start communicating, you can hit us up anytime. Well, our Facebook page is a bustlin'. Go and check it out. We talked about it before, but we're about to start a private Facebook group. I have no issues with making this show more interactive and trying to make it more of a community. But yeah, guys, thanks again, and we'll talk to you next time.
See you later.